Well, we're speaking with Mark Kendall from Great White. Mark, how you doing? Thanks for taking time out of a busy schedule, I'm sure, to hang out with us here in Tucson for a little while.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. Yeah, I'm just actually home today, so totally freed up to chat with you today.
Well, looking forward to the talk because I've been a big fan of you guys going back to the 80s. I think the first time I saw you in concert was a tour you guys were doing with Kix and Tesla. So
Oh, okay. Okay,
way
the later 80s, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
way back back in the day, you guys were amazing as always. Met you guys a few times back then, and
Uh-huh.
you guys played Tucson a few years ago for us. We did a thing called the Working Man's Jam, and Lynch Mob I think was on the bill too, and you guys played and were amazing. Um,
Sweet, sweet.
and but let's talk about it. So Great White is going to be part of the '80s rock invasion, along with Stephen Pearcy of Rat. And
Yeah,
we're also going to have Slaughter performing, and it's going to be on
yeah.
Friday night, October 21st, out at the Pima County Fair. The show is free with admission to the fair, but if you want to buy the good seats, they go to pimacountyfair.com and they can buy the good seats, get you up closer to see you playing a little bit better and all that. So looking forward. So what's been going on with Great White? It's been a bit, and tell us what's been going on in the world of Great White.
Um, we just been playing. I've had the singer out here a few times, Brett, and we've been going down to a buddy of mine who was in Dio for 7 years. His name's Tracy G. His actual last name is Grijalva, but great guitar player. His studio's a little bit better than mine. I always have to bring a guy over here, and it's just a nightmare. He's been recording there for years and years, so it just goes quicker when I go there. So, we're just putting down demos with the drum machine. I'm playing bass, I mean, it's crazy, but it's coming out really good. We want to get something out this year. We're not really sure how we're going to do it. For sure, we'll have a couple videos, but we don't know if we want to put out one song at a time. Do we want to put out like an EP type thing or just a full album, or because the world has changed so much that I don't want to waste any music. I want somebody to hear it all, the whole album, you know what I mean? And the way people download one at a time, or two or three songs here and a couple songs there, it's just, we want to figure out the best way. So we're like talking to a lot of people that are really hip to today's thing, and the way it'll work the best to get our music to our fans the best way possible, So
Streaming
that's what
definitely
I've
has
been up
changed it.
to.
Yeah, streaming
And we
seems to have
just,
really changed that too, because it used to be, like in the 60s, people would release singles, and then 70s really brought out the life of the album. And now
yeah,
it's kind of gone back with streaming where I can go pick the songs that I want to hear, and maybe they don't even listen to the whole albums anymore.
it's funny because, even in our heyday, I've always been, I've never really thought of dollars and cents. I just want to know if people like the music or not, to where I'd be so desperate, I would go to friends of mine who are pretty hard on me, they're tough critics or whatever, just to get feedback, because like that space and time that you, after you're done recording to when it comes out, is pretty brutal. So I always run to friends, tell me you love me, listen to this, and so I'm kind of the same way now. I just want to get the music to the people and get feedback. Like, how is this? Would this hold up in the '80s? What is it better? Or what? Just because I'm still feel really creative, and I want to, we can always get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really feeling pretty good about these songs that we're coming up with. So I'm more anxious for people to hear it than I am selling a million records or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just and I think it makes us viable, that we still are creative. We still want to make new music. We're not quite an oldies band yet, even though, they kind of label us the classic rock or whatever, but that's not so bad. so yeah, that's it. We want to keep painting, you know, and not just go out and be the oldies band that plays the hits every year or whatever. We want to come up with some tunes and get it to the folks, and let them know that we're still making music for you, and no matter what's happened with the industry or whatever, we're still the same band, and we still make music. This is what we do.
What's the songwriting process for you guys like now, especially with the technology changes? I know that during COVID, I talked to a few musicians, like one guy could be in London and the other guy's in LA, and somehow it all works together, where the old days you went into a studio and did all that. What's the songwriting process for Great White like now?
Well, we haven't changed anything because we're still kind of old school. We get in a room, we say, "What do you got?" And I'll play them a little something. Oh, I like that. Let's work on that. So that's the way we do it. Nothing's really finalized until we collaborate, and usually that's when you might see a Great White argument.
During that process.
You know what I mean? We don't sweat the small stuff. But when it comes to the song, we do everything we possibly can to make it the best it can be. Like egos aside, what can we do to make this song the greatest ever? So that's pretty much what everybody shoots for. But sometimes we might get a rub. You know what I mean?
Well, that makes sense. I mean, it's
we all have
minds.
we have to be right? You know what I mean? But a lot of times too, it's when I lived with a song for a long time, and somebody's quick to go, well, why don't we try this? And why don't we? Hey, dude, you want to listen to it like twice at least before we do that? But a lot of times, what I found myself today is if somebody does come with an idea, I don't go, no, man. I wait, I listen to it, I evaluate it, and then I can make the best decision. If I just jump right in and say, no, that's not a good idea, I think you should give everyone's idea a real good chance. You know what I mean?
So who's in the band now in 2023?
Well, three of us. If you add all the years together, it's about 120. And then our bass player's been Scott Snyder. He's been in the band about 15 years. We have a new singer. It's been difficult. It's not like, easy to find a singer who's a tenor, and is kind of get along and doesn't have a lot of problems, and it's hard to find somebody like that. We've had a few that we settled on, but we just had this guy sit in one night and he just blew Vegas out of the water.
Really?
And it became world news, in Italy and Germany, all over I guess what they call the internet magazines, where normally they just seek dirt, they just want to, like, I'll do an interview and they'll say, well, he says your mama wears army boots. That's like, that's the headline. And I didn't even really say it. It's like totally out of context.
They're looking for the clickbait.
Yeah. So even those guys are saying, holy crap, this singer's badass.
How'd you find him?
Through a friend of ours, actually. He managed this band who does their cover band, and he came and sat in because the singer we were using, his priority, he was in another band, and that was his priority, and it was affecting our schedule to where we're going to have to get random singers forever, So it was kind of brutal. So we got this guy to fill in, and he just blew our minds. It was unbelievable. We auditioned about 3 people, and he was the one that we liked the most from the tapes. We just sent him like Rock Me and a lot of our bigger hits, and then a couple new ones, and had them put their vocals on. And then they sent the tape back, and then we kind of judge from there. So yeah, the guy just sings like Satan. I mean, it's insane. He sings so good. It blows my mind to where we're actually pulling songs off our first album
Oh, wow.
that because he has such a high range from A to Z, that we're able to do anything in our catalog, no sweat.
Really?
So, when you have 13 albums, that's good news because, we can really change the setup, play songs, with I guess the generic term is turntable hits or whatever.
Mhm.
And, so we can pull, the B-side stuff off of records and do different things and give our fans a different look, of course, play the stuff that they want us to play, but the other stuff that we can add in some different things, and that kind of, I'm sure, is going to make it exciting for us as well.
So you can throw in some cool deeper cuts and stuff like that maybe
some deep cut, because if you look past Rock Me and the songs that became big because the medium took over and just, gave them a life of their own, we go a lot deeper than those songs. Those are just the ones we put out, but, and they're good songs. Obviously, we're not going to put out we're going to put out what we feel is good. But, when you look deeper into our stuff, it's that's the way a lot of like ballads even that weren't really a big hit, but when we play, a big show or something, the lighters go up and people are hugging their honeys, and, so it's fun to be a part of that too, a part of people's lives that they have stories about, like when we first came out, and, because I'm a fan myself, so I relate to that because, I was a teenager once, and I remember when Waiting for the Bus came out, ZZ Top, I was like, I knew where I was, what I was doing, so when songs can create a memory for you like that, it's a special thing,
Did you think, back when you were that teenager, you were just mentioning that younger version of yourself, that you would be doing it all these years later still?
Well, I think from 15 to 18 years old, I was just totally obsessed with the guitar. Like I would not leave it. It would upset me to leave it for like 15 minutes, even to go to the store. I bring my acoustic with me. You know what I mean? So I think those years and that obsession turned into me leaving baseball at 18 and just going full-time music. But as far as like ever thinking, that I'd be some, have success or have some huge goal, I really didn't have huge goals. It was more like, can you believe we're playing that party this Saturday?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And then like, hey, we're playing Hollywood, dude. I swear to God, we're playing, the Whiskey or whatever. And just kind of, small steps. And then, like when I was about 16, I saw Van Halen play at a junkyard. And then they kept playing and playing and playing, like everywhere I went, I hear they're playing, and I go, man, we got to do that. We need to play more than everybody somehow, even if it's free or whatever. So that was kind of the way we felt that we get our best opportunity to be lucky if we did play, maybe 20 times a month instead of, twice or so, you know what I mean? Because all we wanted was somebody to be in the crowd that could help us, just to get us to whatever the next level would be.
Okay.
Even if it's not like a record deal or whatever, but what can, that notch up above where we're at right now, wherever that would be, can we go to that? And that's what, and it actually happened. All these dreams we had actually happened. It was very strange because I've told the story before, but we used to, when we were playing in this living room at my singer's parents' house, we were saying things like Forum, good night. We were pretending like we were playing the Forum.
Oh,
You know what I
wow.
mean? Because all our heroes played there. And then so when we actually did play there, it was surreal because it's all the things we dreamed about. And we used to pretend like we were doing interviews, and
Oh,
here
you
I
do
am
practice interview?
and I'm doing an interview with you. But you know what I mean? We would do it with each other. Like, how long's the band been together? Like we're practicing, you know what I mean? So we're just goofy kids, but of course, we had a lot of heroes and I guess you do kind of dream about that. But like I said, early going, we were perfectly happy to be playing clubs or in your backyard or just anywhere that would have us where there's people in front of the stage,
And then you guys have had a long, long career and still at it. And I mean, is it kind of cool to look out into a crowd and see people mouthing the lyrics back at you, singing along songs that you wrote in the garage or wherever? Does that still give you kind of a like wow feeling?
Yes, of course, it's huge. And like a week ago, I'm driving to this store and our song came on the radio and it's like the fur raises. I mean, I'm still get chills when I hear it's on the radio. It didn't even seem real to me. So I still get excited, see people singing the songs in the crowd, hear a story from a fan like, oh, my first girlfriend, man, Rock Me came out right-handed, whatever. Everybody seems to have some kind of story where they were in their life. But it was a great time because I think, people went to see us play to escape their problems, to escape their bills, to escape everything and look for some enjoyment and celebrate rock and roll and just just having some fun for a couple hours, and so in that regard it was a great era. Instead of going to a show and embracing all the problems you got at home, let's go out and see the girls and and enjoy ourselves for a while and get away from all that crap,
So Mark, have you ever played with Stephen Piercy before or Slaughter on the same bill?
We're very good friends. Friends with both bands and Stephen Piercy. Stephen and I've known him since probably 1980. I remember walking around Hollywood, we're telling each other how great we were. And we're going to be big and so we came up at the same time pretty much. We had our EP on the radio before we even had a record deal, and then Rat came with an EP right after that. So it's kind of the seed of bands coming out of LA. And we got a record deal, they got a record deal, Dawkins a little bit before that, Quiet Riot, and a couple others. So, it's an exciting time, to get an opportunity like that.
The one thing about Great White that I always really enjoyed and that I saw that I compared to some of your contemporaries, there's definitely a blues influence.
Right.
With you and the band. There's just this guitar, the feel for it. Was that intentional? I mean, is that something that you grew up that you really love the blues and you wanted to incorporate it in?
Almost all the guitar players that I listened to were all the note squeezers, playing from the heart and all that. I know when I was 14, I wanted to be Carlos Santana, like literally. If I could have pushed a button and turned into that guy, I would have been the happiest guy in the world. That's how much I loved him. And you've seen the way he plays. I remember watching that Woodstock video, and he grabbed a note. I swear he held this thing for like 50 seconds, just with his eyes closed, just, And when I seen things like that, I wanted to feel what I was playing, with the Claptons and Alvin Lee and Richie Blackmore, um, Billy Gibbons. These are all the guys. Robin Trower, even when he came out, I really dug that. And so I don't know. When you have people who inspire you, it makes you want to improve. And so there's elements of all those blues overtones in my playing because of those guys. But then in about, I think around 1985, when we started out, we were just a trio: bass, drums, guitar, singer. And, so then around 1985, because we put a keyboard on our second album, and it wasn't a big part. Well, there was one big part. So we go, how are we going to do that live? We didn't want to use a tape. So the guy that worked at the studio goes, well, hey, I'm a keyboard player and I can play rhythm guitar.
Was that Michael?
Yeah, that was Michael. And he was the second engineer at the studio and had his own band. So when we got him in the band at first, we put him behind a curtain. We just wanted to have the parts. Eventually, we got him a riser that he stood on and played piano or keyboards and guitar rhythm, and then before you know it, girls are asking where he's at. So we go, we better get this guy in the band, and so when you have keyboards in the band, we make this certain sound when we play. But like you're saying, you hear the blues in there somewhere, and that comes from my end because of the people who I grew up listening to and who, kind of loved, and they were my heroes. And so that's why I played the way I do from, 9 years old, listening to Hendrix and Cream, and, I just love those big rips, and I guess they call them feel players. The Stevie Ray Vaughns, and a lot of people came along later that I loved, like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Met the guy once. We played a show with him in Nashville.
Oh wow!
And I got to meet him. He kept telling me how tall I was. Man, you're tall. You're so damn tall. I go, and then I go, hey, dude, can you sign this poster for me? It was a poster of him. And he put, keep standing tall, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, yeah, I still got it. I got it laminated. Anyway, he was real sweet. It was a annual benefit jam that Charlie Daniels had every year. And I met Mick Ronson that day, too. That was pretty sweet. I love the way he plays. God. Yeah, this helmet, man, I mean, there's so many great, these upper echelon monsters that I still look up to, that I just, worship. So for me to be anywhere, even not even in that world, but just to be able to have a career this long, it's like really, very grateful for it.
So if people want to follow along with the band, you guys have a website, Facebook page?
Yeah, you can go to our website, officialgreatwhite.com. We have, the Facebooks and the Instagram, Great White, official Great White, or no, it's just, I think, Great White. Great White. We had to put band. Great White Band. I noticed a lot of people Sticks Band.
Well, because they might look up and get a shark.
Or even Tesla. They're my good buddy Tesla. They put Tesla Band because, or else you're going to get Niccolo.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And with us, if you just put Great White, just all these sharks come about. So you had to put Great White Band. Okay. So we got a Facebook, Instagram. And I work with alcoholic addicts, so I'm I'm not one of these rock stars that hides from everybody and you can't get a hold of me. I'm like all over the place. You know, I don't. Anybody who wants to get a hold of me, I'm always available.
So is this show that you're playing in Tucson on October 21st at the Pima County Fair, is that going to be part of is it a one-off, or are you guys already on tour at this point and you're just enjoying a day off from the tour?
It's a one-off, but we're playing more shows with them. We're just not out on tour in a bus or anything. We're mostly fly, do 2 or 3 shows, back home next weekend, fly, go 2 or 3 shows here. So we're not out on a bus tour.
Okay.
You know, it's like I said, the industry's changed so much. You know, back when we would tour, we would go on a tour for 6 weeks, or you know, we're not opposed to something like that as long as it makes sense. You know, but back in the day, if we broke even on a tour, we were totally fine. You know, but we were selling millions of records.
Yeah, and the industry is flip-flopped.
Yeah, you know, get me? Yeah, so when you strip away all that, you got to watch your budget and stuff like that. But nothing's changed with our show. Our show is, you know, we take it serious. We get up there and we just rock our hearts out and bring the crowd right in. You know, like you said, they sing along. I mean, you know, it's like they're reliving their youth. But we're even getting new age. I mean, literally generations, because I've said it before, but like with my parents, I really couldn't relate because it was so far removed.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, you know, War Pigs versus, you know,
Summer Wind.
Big band stuff.
Yeah.
So we can really relate. But with these kids, even if they're into super heavy stuff or something, if they come to a show, they're like, hey, my parents aren't so corny, these dudes rock, you know. My son, I said this before, but my son brought a couple guys from work and they're going, your dad shreds, bro. You know? These guys are like in their 30s, you know. So you know, we're still hip enough to where we can play for a 20-something year old, and they go, "Oh shit, yeah, man, I've heard this stuff on the radio. You know, this is cool.
That's
you know,
awesome.
This rocks."
Well, I'm looking forward to the show, Mark. I've seen you guys a ton of times over the years, even here in Tucson. I know that Tucson's looking forward to the concert as well. Do you guys, when you do shows like this with Steven and Slaughter, do you guys ever jump on stage with each other?
Yeah, we have done that with Slaughter a couple times. Played a cover or two, but not that often. Back in the day, I remember we used to do that with Michael Schenker, and there was another band, and they would come on stage at the end, and we'd do Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I just jam like that. We did it with Slash before. So yeah, we've done it before. Not super often, but yeah, we're not opposed. We've had Y&T and bands on the stage just to sing Once Bitten, Twice Shy.
Oh, wow.
on the chorus, you know what I mean? So yeah, we like to, you know, have fun and create a you know, the party atmosphere or whatever. Recently, I wanted to mention we got a song in a movie from off our last album called Big Time. A song called Big Time. In this movie with Paul Rodriguez, the comedian, and Danny Trejo.
Oh, wow.
And it's called Born Again. It's going to be out this summer. And it's a funny concept. It's about this like Mexican cartel dudes, you know, gangbangers, escape from prison, and they with disguises, I guess, they get a TV show as evangelists, you know, raising money for the Lord, and this song, this Big Time, is going to be part of that show, I guess, you know, so it's pretty funny. But I went and met him the other night, Paul, and just the greatest guy ever, man.
So the movie's going to be out this summer.
Yeah. It's called Born Again.
All right.
You know? I just thought it was a funny concept. You know, these guys, you know, they're gangbangers, and then they have a TV show and become Jimmy Swaggart. You know what I mean? It just, to me, it sounded funny.
Well, I'm definitely going to check it out. And then when are we expecting? You said you're already in the studio doing demos and stuff like that. When do you think you'll get the song out,
we're gonna, as soon as I get a little bit more material, I have 5 songs right now. Other guys are working away from the studio. Usually when we get about 20-25 ideas, then we get together and you know, get our pellet guns out and, you know, see which ones are going to make it and which aren't. You know, because sometimes we might have 3 mid-tempo rockers, and one really stands out. So you don't want 3 songs in a similar vein, you know.
Oh, okay.
Let's just grab the best one. That's usually one thing we've never done is have like a concept record, like know what we're going to play before we play it. We've always kept it really simple in the sense that we write a bunch of songs and the best ones make it, and then we try to figure out what the hell to call it. You know, what are we going to call this thing? You know, but that's another. We never pre-plan what we're going to call a record either until all the music's completely recorded.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing the new stuff when you finally put it out, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the 21st.
Thank you.
All right, we've been speaking with Mark Kendall of Great White, going to be at the Pima County Fair, part of the 80s Rock Invasion with Stephen Piercy of Rat and Slaughter. Pima County Fair, you can get your tickets at pimacountyfair.com or win them from us at KLPX. Mark, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.